Wally here to answer one question today, and that is, should you play Streets of Rage 4? But before we do, I need to tell you what Streets of Rage 4 is, and it is an action brawler sequel to the Streets of Rage trilogy from the 1990s, where you're going around streets and you're fighting bad guys, picking up items, weapons, health power-ups, and selecting a character, and then eventually beating bosses at the end of each stage, and then rinse and repeating until you get to the final boss. Now, I'm going to gush a lot about this game. It's really fun. If you like 2D games, if you like action arcade brawler games, this is going to be the one for you. Streets of Rage 4 does 2D action and the arcade experience of fighting waves and waves of enemies like the best that I've ever experienced. The visuals are top notch, they're modern, they're HD, high definition, they look like they're comic book characters and scenes straight ripped off a page and then put on your television screen. The attention to detail and animation in each character is crazy. And to see some of the characters from the Streets of Rage series returning and seeing them a bit older, because this game does take place 10 years after the original trilogy, I believe, is just amazing. And if you have no connections or ties to Streets of Rage, before this, any of those games, then you don't need to. You're just jumping into a brand new story. The 2D experience is really cool if you enjoy moving left to right and traversing through these really intricately drawn stages. You're going to find that it's done really well here. On top of that, the enemies just keep on coming. They keep on coming and you keep on mowing them down. The controls are simple. You don't have a button to jump. You have a button to strike. You can do a special move, and so that's all real good. There's still pickups. You knock over trash cans or lampposts or whatever you can find in order to gain health, to restore your health, or find weapons to beat up enemies even faster to deal more damage. So there's some strategy in that, as well as strategy in surviving when there's multiple enemies on the screen, and especially multiple enemies of different types. So if you are going against, one enemy that just is punching, it's pretty much easy to fight. Go up to his face, punch him or her, and then grab and throw, rinse and repeat. It's great. But when there's more enemies on the screen, like maybe one enemy is large and is charging with you with fire breath, and then another enemy is throwing poison, basically vials at you, and then while you have another one that's jumping and doing aerial kicks at you, you're going to have to really figure out where to position yourself throughout that stage, throughout the screen, without trying to take damage, especially if you're trying to beat this without losing any lives, so you can get the highest scores, so you can unlock things in the game. That's what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to be more strategic in your actions. So just because it's an action arcade brawler, don't think that it's just going to be, something simple that you can just run through the stages, easy peasy. You're going to find a lot of challenge here. If you want to play by yourself, you can. If you want to play with a character that can run around, you can choose a character that runs around. Or if you want a slower but stronger character, you could do that as well, because they do allow you to choose one of 4 characters, and more characters get added as you play the game and get a high score and unlock them. So you have just so many different options to play like you want to, and that's really cool. I played it, I think, on a normal difficulty on my Xbox GamePass subscription PC. It was fluid, there's no glitches, there's no problems, and not a lot of load times, and it was just a beautiful experience to enjoy. And I think I beat it in maybe between 3 and 4 hours total. And then on top of that, there's more modes that are unlocked after I beat the final boss. But I guess I'm getting ahead of myself, because I do want to try to touch on the satisfying boss fights. I mean, not only does the game have quality 2D artwork, it's balanced, it's refined difficulties. It also has just these really good boss fights. They're all different. In the story mode, you get cutscenes that introduce these characters. It's just really cool, something to look forward to. And their life bars are so big and so crazy. And it's like, am I ever going to defeat this thing? And it's like just learning their attacks and trying to position in order to best beat them. And those boss fights are something that I hope that you are looking forward to as well if you're thinking about jumping into Streets of Rage 4. After you beat the game, you do unlock multiple modes. So you unlock an arcade mode, a boss rush mode, and even more stuff in the art gallery. So starting with the arcade mode, it's the same as the story mode, but you have 1 life. Pretend like you're in the arcade in the 90s and you only have 1/4 to beat the entire game. That's what you do in arcade mode. This is for the tough of the tough. You only get 1 life to beat the entire game. And if that sounds like it's a challenge, it is, and that's available to you. For the boss rush mode, it's exactly as it sounds. You just fight boss after boss after boss. Try to beat it if you can. And as far as the art gallery, I think that you should check it out. It has a lot of cool concept art of the characters, and it's just high quality artwork that I enjoyed just perusing, looking through every single one. So the entire package of Streets of Rage 4 is just, again, quality. It's done with care. I mean, the soundtrack, I didn't even really hit on that. It's just so amazing. It's bumping, it's great, and it fits every single stage. I want just the soundtrack to this game so I can listen to. It's that good. I had to stop and just, when there was very few enemies or no enemies on screen, I stopped just to hear the background music. And I'm like, man, this is good stuff. Oh yeah, I'm supposed to be playing, you know, and then I would just continue on because it was just so amazing. So, I mean, there's nothing really bad for me to say about this, because when I felt like it was too hard, I can change the difficulty. If I felt like it wasn't hard enough, I ran into even more enemies. So there's always was something for me to do, to change to, and I enjoyed it. It's also available on so many different platforms. If you have an Xbox or PlayStation or Steam or Switch, it's just everything I ever dreamt about of an arcade brawler game into one. And if you enjoy anything that I've talked about today, then this game is probably for you. If you need to see, footage, I've been playing footage this entire time, and hopefully you understand the value of Streets of Rage 4 and if it's right for you. So let me know in the comments if you enjoy Streets of Rage, if the series, the trilogy from the 90s. If you played Streets of Rage 4, I want to know all about it. If you haven't, I hope that this video helped you figure out if you should play it or not. If you like action, brawling, single and multiplayer games that are, not too long, around 3 to 6 hours, then this is going to be up your alley. As always, thanks for joining the party, listen to me ramble, and I'll see you in the next exciting video.